Good morning, everyone. This is Carter Wilcoxon, founder CSI Financial Group. I am joined here today from a couple of panelists. I'm very excited about just kind of sort of set an agenda here. I'm very excited about something that I have been looking at for close to 3 years now. Our guest speaker and panelist today, Tom Cormier, is going to be discussing with you an enhancement as we continue to refine our process and something in a topic that is top of mind for individuals. And I won't steal too much of Tom's thunder here, but this is something as CSI Financial Group goes out and is trying to differentiate themselves, and by extension differentiates our what we call advisor partners. This is going to be an added enhancement to what it is that we're doing on the front end with regards to estate planning, which is very important for the proper documentation. Everybody on this call knows and understands that. Now, obviously, we are recording this, so we'll be sharing this with those who were not able to make it today, which is why I guess I should say good afternoon potentially with someone who may be listening to it later. But I also have on here our eState Plan Business Development Manager, Stacy Pearson. Stacy, do you want to say good morning?
Yes, good morning, everybody. This is a very exciting topic, and I think you're going to love it. I don't think it's anything you've ever heard of before.
Yeah, that is for sure. So just to set the agenda, we're not going to make this any longer. Just like most of our eState of the Union addresses, no longer than 35 to 45 minutes. We're going to be talking about these legacy tools of engagement that everybody should be able to see on their screen right now. As a reminder, there is the chat box or the question box. If you have anything, everybody's on mute. Go ahead and pop a question in there. We'll try to address it by the end of the meeting. But without further ado, I want to go ahead and hand over the reins to Tom Cormier from Legacy Talks and let him share with you this exciting enhancement that we have for our eState plan portfolio implementation. Tom, floor is yours.
Hey, nice to be with you here, and thanks a lot for that introduction, and thank you for having me. Anyways, I'll get right to it. So my name is Tom Cormier. I'm the co-founder of the Living Legacy Project. Just a real quick on that. Back in 2008, due to some tragic incidents and losses, I came to realize with a partner of mine that the greatest body of wisdom in history, as we're sitting here right now, is being taken to the grave. And that's because our parents, grandparents, our elders, their life experiences, their life lessons are unwittingly going extinct. They don't realize how important it is that these things and the kind of influence that they can have on their families and for future generations. So we launched a project. This is a global initiative, and the idea is to provide free training and education and awareness to families to make them realize that they have a treasure that can really make a big difference in their family, but they need to take an action and start to collect their and pass down their legacy stories. So and one of the ways that we do this, in fact, our main way so that we can reach these families, is through the professionals who serve them. And we need to be able to provide them with the education. And this would be someone like you. You're all professionals. You serve families already. And so since you're meeting them and meeting many of them, you have the ability to introduce the concept to them and to have great benefits for doing that. And we partner with several organizations, and I'm so happy that we were just able, Carter and I have spoken for a year or two now. We've talked about this, and now we've really become on board as one of the partners in his beautiful his expert team here. So I'm honored for that, Carter. And so what we're going to do now is to be able to give you some powerful incentives for doing this service to them. And it's a huge value add service. I'm going to talk about that now. Let's just talk about the way things are now. And that's what really intrigued me about Carter and CSI. You know now that good, solid advice, financial and otherwise, has pretty much become a commodity. And you can get it anywhere. Everybody gives the same basic advice, different brand, maybe different forms, but it's pretty much the same advice. And what's happened is that most everybody delivers that advice transactionally, and so they become these standard transactional advisors. And so, what happens is the whole, to be able to stand out amongst that, massive sea of advisors is getting near impossible to do that. On the other hand, if you think about the fact that you're talking to families about one aspect, maybe it's insurance, it could be life insurance, could be annuities, and that's what I love about the eState plan and this whole organization. We have been pushing the idea that if people just thought holistically about the somebody's estate and their financial situation, thinking more broadly, and being able to think that on the emotional side of things, you can do things on the legacy side, certainly, that make you a transformational advisor, and that would stand you out. You'd stand out so brightly amongst your peers. This is a big area, and I'm going to show you how to be a transformational advisor here. And it all comes down to knowing that you want to talk to you want to know that when you're talking to a prospect or a client, they know that you care as much about their values as their valuables. And when they see that about you, it changes the whole dynamic. As a matter of fact, so what we've done is we know that you don't have enough time, you're busy in your day to, take on another 10-hour training course and to try and add this to your workload. So we developed a philosophy of small steps taken consistently over time will yield incredible results. So we have been writing articles and supporting people and training and all kinds of ways to in all aspects of legacy for now, over a decade. And we're now going to hand and spoon feed this to you every 2 weeks in what we call our Legacy Talk Digest. And that way you only have to spend a little bit of time every 2 weeks, and you'll gain an education and an awareness, cool ideas, tools, and it will make you a legacy authority in this subject. You will be far and above anybody that you ever meet. You're going to find great things to talk about, interesting other angles, hook lines, and ideas like that. So that's what the Legacy Talk Digest is about.
Hey, Tom, can I just interject
Sure.
just real fast too?
Yeah.
One of the things that I have mentioned to not only our prospective advisor partners, but our current advisor partners, we talk about all the time about competitor proofing your practice, right?
Yep.
And you and I have had multiple conversations about how on the front end, that's exactly what we're doing. We're competitor proofing our practice. And to your point, and you've seen this from the beginning stages and what you're getting ready to go into, I know, but I just want to interject that what we're really doing here is we're purposely eliminating the competition. We are competitor proofing your practice. And I tell my advisor partners all the time, be careful with this topic. Make sure that the clients that you're trying to acquire, because we've all been trying these client acquisition initiatives in multiple different ways to do that. With these couple of topics that are, the estate planning on the front end, the enhancement of the legacy talks you're getting ready to go into, you better make sure that these are the clients you actually want to work with, because they will be yours forever. So anyway, I just wanted to just chime in just a little bit about that, sort of like the beginning, how we started talking and having our purpose of having you be one of our team members on our team roster.
Thank you. And that's exactly right. I did miss it. I said it without saying it right, but this is the ultimate way to competitor proof your business. Now, I firmly believe that because there is a what we call a legacy wave, where you've got boomers that are entering their legacy years, and because that wave is coming in, it will be, we've watched the growth of this happen. More and more advisors are trying to look for ways that they can add a legacy component or some kind of a legacy talk to do this. More and more are, and we know there'll be a tipping point, we estimate, in about a year, possibly 18 months, where it's going to become expected of you to talk to your clients about this. And I'll show you data on that later in this presentation. You will ultimately need to know what you're going to learn, simply because you're going to be a dinosaur if you don't. Okay, so and right now, great time to differentiate yourself. You can just get a ton of people in the fold by being a transformational advisor. And so to that end, I don't know if you saw this article that was published in Forbes, but they did a study, and they determined in this study, this is Forbes, that they found out that if you only know 3 or less of the core values of a client or a prospect, you're going to get less than 50% of their business or their AUM, and you'll get no referrals. On the other hand, if you know 5 of their core values, you get 72% of their AUM, and you'll average 1.7 quality introductions. And here's the killer that I just don't even know how they came up with this. If you know 8 of their core values, you get all of their business, and you average 4.1 quality introductions. Now, when I look at this, I can't remember when this study came out, but it was recently. And I'm thinking, if I were a financial advisor myself, I would want to know my clients, and I want to immediately find a way. I'd be obsessed with figuring out what my client's value system is. And I want to know what they are. I want to, I want to know this. Please give me a way. And yet, it's still, we get busy in our day, and it's information, but you don't really take it up. It's giving you the answer to gaining clients, getting all their business, and getting a tremendous amount of introductions from within. So that is a key, and I want you to keep that in mind as we go through. So we have trained. Yes.
Hey, Tom, can I just interject? Sure. Tom, let me interject just one.
Please.
Yes, and this is perfect. So here's the thing, and everybody on this call either has or will hear me talk about the difference between an introduction and a referral. I know that everybody thinks they're synonymous, but they couldn't be further from one another. Or they're similar in the fact that it's a way to talk to somebody else that's not the actual client. But an introduction, when somebody, think about it yourself, everyone. If somebody introduces you to somebody, that's completely different than, oh yeah, here's Tom's number, give him a call. You don't know what he said about you. You don't know if they even have any idea what it is that you're even calling about, other than you make an assumption. But I will tell you, the introductions, and that's exactly what the value system and understanding these 8 core values and the lead in with what we talked about for the longest time. Introductions are the key. Eliminate referrals from your entire conversation about thinking about that. Think about introductions. And the awesome part about an introduction is that they will advocate to introduce you. You won't have to ask for an introduction. Is that fair, Tom?
It absolutely is. That's the difference. I'm so glad you pointed that out. An introduction is uniquely different. You want introductions. It's the best. Essentially, it's them giving you the testimonial, and that's kind of what you want. They're not going to do that. Now, I will say that what I'm going to show you here is that you will get even more introductions when you take what I'm going to show you, because they will be looking at you and what you deliver to them in a completely different light. Then, people are somewhat hesitant, and even if they're excited about or they know and appreciate what service you're doing, people are just reticent to turn you on to somebody to control, to possibly, when it has to do with their money. If anything goes wrong, they'll never hear the end of it. And so that's why a lot of it is, they have to trust you, but then it's hard to get introductions. Well, if you just know their value system, you're going to get 4.1 introductions. But if you really get deeper into that, they're going to see things. I'm going to show you. There's ways that when they see this and they have this experience, they're going to be thinking, I've never seen anything like this again. So they're going to introduce you simply because they've never seen it. They've heard 100 different ways to, save taxes on your inheritance and things like that. They've never been presented with this as part of their holistic thinking. So this all starts with what we call a legacy talk. And we're going to provide you in these every 2 weeks. You're going to get this information about how to be able to know a client's value system, and more importantly, how to expand your knowledge in the legacy space so that you can talk about it in 100 different ways in 100 different settings. And it's all interesting, mainly because people have never heard it before, and it's coming from you. Talk about standing out, right? But it all really comes down to having that legacy talk. And that's just a conversation that you have with clients that's going to reveal their value system. And so every 2 weeks, you're going to get information. For example, you'll start off and we will show you this video. You'll have video and the actual legacy questions you want to ask. And we keep this really short and succinct, 14 minutes, 28 seconds. You're going to learn an exclusive 4-stage interview process. And this was developed. We've trained over 5,000 senior care providers how to elicit stories from the people, the patients that they serve, and helping their families to continue that process. And also, we've trained, a lot of the people in the financial services industry as well. You will know in here, there will be in this conversation an aha moment as the questions start. These aren't deeply probing questions, but they're the right questions asked in a specific order. And during it, as they begin to, because some people don't even like to talk about themselves, getting them to say anything is going to be difficult. And who are you, by the way? But to be able to ask these questions, it starts in such a way that these are non-confrontational. You're just going to have a conversation. And when that happens, it begins to roll. And at a certain point in there, the client is going to have a cathartic aha moment in that conversation. They're going to realize, wow, my stories and my legacy stories, I do have a treasure trove of these, and they need to be passed down and they realize the value of their story. And guess what? It's in those stories that you'll learn their values system. It's in the telling of those stories that they will tell you in that interview. So these are things that rather than give you the whole, this is an entire process that'll show you how to record the stories during that interview, just with your smartphone or a digital recorder. And there's a process that when you give them that recording, you're going to give them an asset, a legacy asset that will be timeless, be worth more than no advisor's ever given them anything like this. And all you did was push record. And so you'll see that this one conversation is going to change and transform your relationship with them. So that is a very powerful thing. You'll become now a family advisor. You're because you have touched the heart of the family here. But rather than give you the whole process of how to record, how to do all that, we're going to give you these in little bits and pieces. The whole process is only 42 minutes, but we have a lot more to give you in each biweekly digest. So you'll receive that. We'll also give you, I hope you do some marketing out there and social media. It's always important to have people be interested in the kind of content that you deliver to them. And content marketing, anybody will tell you, it is the #1 way to get clients and get known. What we want you to do is to have your community and your social network and everybody around you, they want to see that you are a transformational advisor. And so you are going to give them advice in your social media of, new law did this, and, these different things that you would ordinarily want to post, articles maybe that you think are important to families to learn, and hopefully they're watching and they're learning. Well, if you just weave into your normal marketing, we're going to provide you content that when you do, it'll be thought-provoking, and people, the more of that you get, the more you're going to have people following you and seeing you as a, boy, that person's different. They give you an, I hadn't thought of that, or what a cool thing. So for example, we'll just give you things like this, which will be just a quote, copy, paste, real simple. Again, not a lot of time here, 14 minutes to watch that video, just a little bit of time to do this, copy, paste it, put it in your social media, download the photo and post it. Wealth divorced from the wisdom that created it is most likely going to be wasted by heirs. Now, you can go ahead and modify that anywhere you want. And you could follow that up with something that might say, have you had a legacy talk lately? Or let's have a legacy talk, or some kind of call to action. You can do it or not, be creative, and that sort of stuff. So we'll provide you these shareable words of wisdom in every edition. So it's real quick, bang, I put it up there. And if you got 2 weeks for the next one, you don't have to put all this up the very first day. We have the only full-blown legacy topic podcast. Now, these can be listened, they're all audio. And again, we've designed these podcasts so that they're only 20 minutes, 20, 22, 18 minutes. And they are power packed. We've interviewed and we continue to interview PhDs in psychology, sociology, acclaimed authors, and experts in all phases of legacy. And you'd be really surprised, because most people think that legacy is just about death and money, when you realize that there is so much more to it than that. And what'll happen is, again, just take 20 minutes and listen to one. We'll just present one each edition. You just listen to that, and you don't have to have it on the podcast platform. You can, but you can just click into the website and just listen to the audio right there. And the idea is, you will not only gain information that you didn't know about, you're going to just find things that who knew, and you're going to be and when you do, you're going to expand your legacy knowledge and expertise without even trying. And not only that, you'll be inspired to then say, boy, this would be really great information that I want to share with maybe send an email to your exact client that or a prospect. Hey, I was thinking about you when I heard this, and I think this resonates with whatever. Or you could publish it in your social media and your marketing. Just put it out there. And again, here's somebody looking at you saying, boy, he's got great content. This is really neat. So it's stuff that they have never heard before. So these are inspiring, interesting interviews. You'll get educated, and so won't you be providing that education and awareness to your clients. Now your social media and marketing posts and your whole marketing content now is truly holistic. You're talking about both sides of the estate equation, values and valuables. So we'll provide those in your legacy talk digest. And also, I know you guys got a great group presentation, and I'm working with Carter on this, and I know that he'll be able to do this, but you'll be surprised. We have a group presentation that, and we'll show you kind of how to do this. And this is something that you can actually add on to an existing presentation, you know, probably 10, 15 minutes if you have it. I mean, or this presentation essentially is an audience participation legacy talk, the same kind of flow that you will use and you'll learn in the interview. You could turn around and add it because you're going to realize how important this is. And you're going to, and when you do this, you'll have the audience talking and sharing stories. It's interactive. It gets them awake. It is profound. And in the course of this little session, the audience is going to realize how important their stories are and why it's at risk. They're at risk of not being passed down unless they start to take action. And the action you'll suggest is come on in and or I'll go to you, however you want to do it. Sign up and I'll give you a complimentary legacy talk, and here's how that will work. We'll talk about this and that. And more importantly, you want to be able to come from the standpoint of a cause, and this will get you, and the cause here is to become an ambassador, a local ambassador for the Living Legacy Project. It's an important cause. It's a movement, and for you to go, you'll be able to get into all kinds of monthly group meetings that they put somebody in there for 20 minutes, you know, to their guest speaker. You know, they've all had enough of the financial people, and maybe you can get in, but they're in very minimal kind of events that you can go talk to. But talking about the Living Legacy Project, how we are unwittingly allowing the greatest body of wisdom to go extinct, and be able to make them aware of what it can benefit to their families and that. And all you need to do is have a legacy talk, and we can give you that step forward. Not only that, but because you're an ambassador, you were provided the ability to make these education seminars for them, to provide the education. That's why you're there. And to be able to they give you the tools and the ability to personally help people get started in it. It's then that you invite them to have a legacy talk. It's while they have the legacy talk that you begin to speak and transition into your into your holistic other services that you offer. And this is maybe a great way. It is, like Carter said, it's the way you want to talk to people after. You want to talk about doing legacy talk with somebody in the formative stage after you've been through the estate planning process, and add this on. But for a lot of people who may be hesitant or scared to speak to groups or whatever, or for any other reason, or just when you're out and around, you just never know when you're talking to people. If you're an ambassador for the Living Legacy Project, it gets their attention, and you start talking about things to them, and you could get invited to groups that you otherwise couldn't get to, ethnic groups, faith-based groups, that sort of stuff. So we'll show you how to do that along the way, and how to couple this onto your existing presentations with CSI, which, by the way, I saw Scott do his. It's off the charts. If you guys are doing them, I can't imagine you're not getting a bunch of clients out of that. Just to give you an example over here, I got an email back from somebody back in, this is Southern California. It's an advisor down there. It's a 1-degree advisor. She goes, I'd love to give you feedback on the workshop. What she did was she did a similar thing. Hers is all about retirement and financial planning, but she promoted it as holistic, where they're going to talk about legacy, values, and valuables. And because she worked the legacy talk into her promotional materials, she couldn't believe the number of attendees that showed up. And you know what it's like. You can put out the roast steak dinner if you want. You're still only going to get maybe 6, 7 out of 10 who committed to show up actually show up. In this case, she goes, I'd like to give you some feedback on the workshop we did. We actually had to book 2 more because the first one filled up so fast, we had to turn people away. She goes, surprisingly, and this is the key, everyone who registered actually attended, and a few extras showed up that hadn't. Apparently, they must have brought friends or other family members with them. So the bottom line is we've hit a hot button and plan to keep doing these as long and as often as there's opportunity. So this, this is a great thing to, again, this is just, and you'll be invited to talk to people when you continually do in marketing outreach that you are an ambassador for the Living Legacy Project, that you are, you're talking about, holistic planning and all of that stuff. That's different. You'll get invited to talk. So you want to become a legacy authority, but you're not going to stop everything and go to a 6-month graduate course. We're going to feed it to you in small steps over time. Anything you want to say right there before I move on?
No, you know what? That's actually perfect, Tom, and I appreciate the fact that you have yourself taken the time to review. You just mentioned seeing Scott's presentation. That's why there's such symmetry between Legacy Talk and our eState plan portfolio and estate planning. Generally speaking. I appreciate the fact that you've learned so much about what it is that we've been delivering, and we've had these same types of success, filling the room, so to speak. So this added enhancement is really going to be so incredible, which is again why I say be careful with the clients that you want to take on, because these clients are going to be yours in perpetuity. They won't be anybody else's. So no, that was perfect, and I'll let you just move on.
All right. So
I wanted to jump in here
sure.
too, Tom, if I could. You guys are interviewing clients, first-time clients. You've spent money on client acquisition, and the most you're going to lose most of those who say no or I'm not ready. You're really losing them to indecision, and this tool could very well help you to bridge that. Loss where you can still offer a free legacy talk to those who aren't ready for an eState plan. And when they come into your office, maybe they're bringing a family member or two, and they're starting to get into those intimate family heritage conversations. They feel warm and they feel closer to you, and you've broken down that resistance to change that a lot of first-timers come in with. And over time, they feel closer to you and they don't know why. And it's because they've shared their life stories with you in your presence. And that's really part of what we get to when we have our 7 steps to the magic. The magic is asset disclosure, trusting your advisor. It's becoming a trust investment advisor so that you can meet the family and have access to the heirs. I mean, that's the magic of it, of building this relationship with your clients. And when they come into your office and they start sharing their family stories, those things that are significant to them, then they've automatically come to you with this new sense of relationship that they otherwise wouldn't have had.
Well done. On that note, I want to tell you, in marketing, there's a phrase that I've always used and I've come to know for years, decades. Facts tell, but stories sell. And you know that when you can tell anybody you want that they really should have this, and certain percentages of people, don't pass this down and it causes this problem, and these are facts. But when you tell the story about someone's life, and even a personal story of your own, and you're able to put that fact into story form, it changes the whole way they receive it. They can relate to it. There's an emotional bent to it. It's hard to make people emotional about a fact. So just keep that in mind. And here we are. When you're talking the legacy talk, It's all story. And you're going to get to share in this interview process that you're going to learn. You're going to see exactly where you're going to identify a spot where you'll share one or two of your own stories. You won't take over the conversation, but when you interject that, watch what happens when the client starts to now see you no longer as an advisor. You are truly become a friend. You almost become a kindred spirit in that moment. And then from there, again, they're introducing you to people after that. They're not shoving, just saying, yeah, I'll give you a name. It's different. It's different. You'll see it. So another thing that we're going to deliver, we created a network of legacy advisors about 8 years ago, and we called it the International Association of Story Keepers. And these were just people who were not in any niche at all. They just wanted to have legacy talks and get paid for it and be able to develop a legacy type business. But most of the people that are drawn to that are more people that are born to serve than to sell. And so these were ladies and mostly women who are just about ready to retire, looking for some kind of purposeful work that they could do. This resonated with them. Unfortunately, most of them knew nothing about having a business. They didn't know the first thing about it. So we had to go through this. I spent more time hand holding the fundamentals of business. But in the course of that, we ended up creating a series of webinars, recorded webinars for them. And we're going to give you these webinars for them as well. We call these our legacy labs. And these are the fundamentals. I don't care if you're already well into your business, to be able to go back, or even to, these are fundamentals that are really going to give you an incredible grounding to make the business. You don't forget your consultants, your advisors, but you're in business. So these will help you to craft your vision statement. It's going to show you how to set SMART goals and then make them stick. It's going to show you how to build an effective email list, how to get the most out of your time. Now, these are 40-minute to 1 hour webinars, but every 2 weeks it's worth the 1 hour to just learn another one. How to attract high quality visitors to your website if you have one. How to develop your value statement. People call it an elevator pitch. Forget that word. It's your value statement. And then how to build your dollar referral machine. Great one there. And there's several others that are in there. They go over time. So I'm just going to say that we'll present these to you as well. So here's something before I close here I want you to understand. If you think that the timing cannot be more perfect. So Allianz did a survey and they asked baby boomers to rank their priorities when it comes to passing down an inheritance. And you might think that, I got to make sure that, now there's no question that the money and the real estate can cause more problems than anything. But guess what? Look at how it turned out. By a factor of about 9 to 1, they feel that their family, their family stories, they're what we call their legacy stories, the family story, the family narrative, even their special keepsakes and momentums, the mementos, those items that they feel, not all of them, some of them are just sentimental, but those photographs, those parts of that those photos truly are part of their family history. They want to make sure that they're not discarded when they die. And so, on the other hand, the heirs don't want all of their junk, but they need to know that there's a way to parse them out and say, I want to absolutely make sure that these things are part of what I want to pass down. I want these to remain. I want control over saying what stays with the family for the benefit of future generations. Look at their financial inheritance. So the interesting thing is very few of boomers have made any provisions for it. And that poses an enormous opportunity for you to essentially go in. You can see this is what they want. And this is the most affluent and the biggest demographic. What a way to be able to get in front of them and start to have a legacy talk with them, just to get them started, to let them know you know that that's important. So it's a tremendous, tremendous opportunity here. The timing is ideal. And right now, as I said, boomers especially are all just entering their legacy years. They're starting to get, and the more they get into this, the more they will reflect on it. At first, they're all thinking that legacy is just about dying in money, and I don't even want to pay attention to it. I'm too young to think like that. It's a difficult thing. These people have psychological resistance to that. But on the other hand, when you realize that your stories can actually and should be celebrated and shared today while you're alive, people wouldn't even know. Your own children, your grandchildren never knew the kind of neighborhood you grew up in. Today is the time. And by default, by recording and sharing those stories today, they are in a form that are able to be passed down to the next generation.
Hey
So,
Tom, hey Tom,
yeah,
I just
sure.
want to interject an actual event that just happened to me and my family just about a week and a half ago.
Oh, good.
We drove up to see my grandmother, um, and we celebrated her 89th birthday. Now, I did not know that this was actually going to happen, but well, while we were there, my 89-year-old grandmother, who's actually selling her home and going to be moving in with her daughter, um, she started giving my kids, her great grandkids, actually, my grandmother, right, started giving them mementos out of the house. Like she was just like giving us these things because she wanted to make sure that we got them. It wasn't provoked, it wasn't asked for, it wasn't any of that. And then she ended up giving me and my wife a very valuable piece. It was a memento, but it was also a valuable memento that she gave to us because she wanted us to have it. Now, I saw it firsthand without even having these types of conversations that this is obviously something that an 89-year-old woman wants to do. The clients that we're talking to want to be able to do these types of things. Having these types of transformational conversations with them that you're going to be able to help educate our advisor partners on, Tom, I think will be absolutely priceless. I think about my grandmother who passed away about 5.5 years, 6 years ago now. And I think about all the things I wish I had known about her, that I could be able to go back and hear those stories and have those stories would be priceless to me as a grandson. And I can promise you, knowing her, had I gone to her to have a legacy talk, you wouldn't have been able to get the lady to stop talking. I guarantee it. So in any event, I just, surely people that are listening to this conversation right now, again, we talk about the estate planning side of things with our financial advisors, our advisor partners, is not a gimmick. This is not another gimmick. This is transformational stuff that is important to those that we're going to be talking to. This will break down barriers like you've never seen before if you take that holistic approach for these clients. So, in any event, I just wanted to share that quick little story because it got me a little emotional just thinking about it. Because we said, well, we'll see you at Christmas. She's like, I hope so. I mean, we're talking about an 89-year-old woman. Time is of the essence, everybody. That's the point here. So they're connected. Estate planning, legacy talks are connected to holistically be a transformational advisor and so much more than transactional, which is what we are creating here in the first place. And that's what we have already. Everybody on this call I know that's listening are transformational in the first place. Now you have the ability, Tom, to show them how you can really get in even deeper with the family and be able to really make a difference in those families' lives.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I do see it. Hey, did you see what happened, everybody? Did you see that? Carter could have easily said, that the older generations a statistic about how older certain percentage of them, like you saw in the Allianz study. There was the Allianz, right here. Here's the statistics right here. It's kind of interesting, but you see those facts, then those facts tell. But when Carter told that story, there it is. So the stories are what make you go, boy, that I can see it. I didn't even think of it that way. And you'll understand how that plays into this. So bottom line is the demand for legacy guidance, just to give them some kind of an acknowledge that this about them, and let me help you get started. Let me just, have a conversation with you. And if you don't mind, I'll just record it for posterity. It'd be a great thing. That little conversation, when you hand that to them, you're more valuable. It will be more valuable than all the money that they're going to deal with, is just that 1 hour conversation with the client. And it's going to not only be resonate that way, it's going to resonate with the heirs, it's going to resonate with everybody. They're going to realize that they really you gave them a legacy asset. They will never forget about you. All this happens just by having a conversation about the value side. Go ahead, Stacy.
I'm just looking at the time. Can you kind of tell our listening audience how they actually do this? It's not that they're going to have a tape recorder in the conference room and hand them a cassette tape. How do you actually do this?
Well, we'll show you that, and you'll learn it in a step by step. What you do is you do want to use either. We'll show you exactly how to do it. I'll give you instructions in a little. Really about, I think it's an 8-minute video. We show you how to record it with your smartphone, or even just with a digital voice recorder. And you're gonna give them the questions you're gonna talk about first, so they're not blindsided. They know what it is, and these are not deeply probing questions. They're just designed to make them aware of the value of this story. And then in the course of it, you're going to be able to say to them, listen, you're going to be talking about some of the values that you're in there. Makes sense. If you mind, I'll give you this recording, and I will just record it. We don't want you doing video or getting all complicated, and I'm going to show you how to stop and pause between certain things so that you self-edit your questions out, stuff like that, without it becoming a distraction to the conversation, so you can really get involved in the actual interest in that. But then afterwards, the benefit of this is going to be, you talked about your 89-year-old mother, so is mine, but their children are boomers. I mean, their children are in their 60s and now going into 70s. And these people a lot of them want to make sure that their parents' story is told. And so it's a great connection in that way. And not only that, but the boomers themselves will realize that you got a lot of living to do, but you have lived a lot of life so far, and don't take a chance that this is going to go. So let's just at least get you into the mode of doing it. But ultimately, it's all about the person who's going to consume it, and that is the heirs and the future generations. You don't want to give it to them on a DVD. You're going to give it to them in a digital file, and you just get yourself a thumb drive, and you're going to deliver it to them like that. You don't want to say, I'll send you the file. We show you how to do all that in these step-by-step videos. I'm sorry, Stacy.
That's okay. Can you tell us a little bit about that environment so that our advisors feel comfortable with what that environment's like?
Well, that's another thing. As in the training, these little videos, the whole thing, again, I told you, is 42 minutes to learn the process. But you're going to, it's either at your office or in their homes, but I tell you how to set up the room so that you, can get a good recording with just your own smartphone. Certainly, you don't have to put a Spielberg production together, but how to, make sure that you're not near any fans and loud things and distractions and TV off, and you'll see how it is. Just basically those things. You just want to set the room up comfortably, and you could be just sitting at a table with them, or you could be just sitting on a couch, just like these people are sitting here, if that's what's the situation, and you're just having a conversation with them. You need to be close, but you'll be having a really neat just conversation. It doesn't matter where you're sitting, you just want to be comfortable. So it could be at your office if you want. You could have them sitting across in 2 seats across your desk if you want. Obviously, the fewer obstacles in between, the better. But I don't want you to get too hung up on it. I just want you to know the basics before you start. Make sure everybody's cell phones are off. Make sure the things that once you start this, you don't want a distraction. Tell your secretary to your receptionist, hold your calls. Don't be bothering me. We're going to have a legacy talk. You want this to be, and if you're in their home, make sure that you're in a place where it's not where the kids are coming in and out of school. Just tell them it's best that we have this conversation, especially if we're going to record it. I'd like to have this so that I really get to know you more and know your value system, and so that I can get and so that I can get a good, decent recording that would be great for posterity, for your posterity in the family. It's really
Now, does the
nothing.
client also have an environment that they can interact with, Tom?
No, yes. Yeah, they can do that. I was gonna go into that, but I will show you because I'm just about through with this. Yeah, so not only do you give them that, but you can also upload it to our online archive. But we'll show you how to do that in time, and I'll show you a little bit about that. Let me just finish what I've got a hard stop here in 8 minutes. So let me just show you. So the idea is that transformational advisors will differentiate themselves, especially if you're a legacy authority. And then let me go, maybe I'll take advantage here and go to my Go here. And so we have we have an online archive, and this is where stories can be uploaded into a portfolio. They can and this is absolutely free, so it's another huge value add. This is the official website of the Living Legacy Project, and people can come in here. Can you see that okay on my screen? Oops.
Yes.
Yeah, I must have done that wrong. Yeah, so they can build, and then I'm going through this. Yeah, they can build a portfolio of their written stories. They can, when they have identified their highest priority legacy photos, they can create individual albums online, so that it's not all your stuff, it's the stuff that matters. And we have a free mobile app that you can record the stories and then upload them into the client's account for them. And you can do that real quick on each of these. I will go. Here's mine, because I've been at this a while, but you can see we have people that write an entire memoir. I have several categories over here, but for example, I've written just some of my military stories. So I will do that, and these are real simple, and you can keep them totally private to yourself. You can share these discriminately just with family members that you want, or you can put them into our public library. We have a public library here so that they're searchable, and you can inspire other people as well. You can see some of mine over here have received several hits on these. So you can do that, and these are a great little stories. For example, I'll pull that up real quick. So here's one here, story about J.J. Ryder and the 106. Don't have to be any big deal. It's just a story. But once you start having these stories, it turns out that you can have, you start to accumulate them. And this is part of what they'll do once you introduce this to them, and you'll learn that in how to introduce it. You'll learn that in the digest as well. And then I've got photos that I have put in here as well. And these are photos that, pertain to different parts of my life. I've had ancestor photos and things that I think are legacy worthy. And then I have oral histories over here that I have uploaded. So it's all there for you to do. We're going to put and talk about that.
How you can do a little bit of a voiceover for a picture. Can you show them how that looks?
Yeah, well, first of all, you can upload your oral histories by taking a picture of an artifact and do that. But in your stories, and I'd have to go over here, you can upload the pictures here. And let's just say I picked one up here about our wedding day. So I can go in here and call up a picture. And did I do it already? Come on. Yeah. Okay. See, so this is already there, but you can click this and narrate that photo. So because some of the people in the pictures, they're important and legacy relevant to the family, their family history, but you may be the only person that knows who the people are in that photograph or the event, or what is this picture? What was happening that day? What kind of thing was going on there? Or you can narrate these photos and they make the whole thing come alive. So that's it. Because I have a hard stop here, I need to get back to where I was, if it's okay with you. Okay, so there's more on that, and you're going to learn that in the digest. Okay, so it's going to make you a real effort. You're going to have tools you won't even believe. Bottom line here is that we have this program is $39 a month. You can ease into this. And plus we give you a 15-day free trial. And really, if you think about it, if you even go the year, you're talking about getting an education and tools of engagement that are going to bring you thousands and thousands and thousands. And once you know this stuff, it is perpetual. You'll have it for life. You're going to use it in 100 different ways. It costs you $375 a year. So you can just, commit to it.
Is that what it costs? Is that what the cost is to the client?
No, you're not going to charge the client anything. You're just going to bring them value add. In the conversations, they're going to talk to you about other business. And, you're using this as lead gen. You're using this as a way to, enrich the families that you serve. And in the course of that, get introductions and all of that stuff. You're really selling your other stuff. There's nothing really you want to sell here. All you're doing is giving. This is where you you become an authority in the community because of your marketing outreach that will deliver to you the legacy content. And when you get prospects and you get clients, because you can have this conversation with prospects, and just having that conversation is going to open up all their guard goes down. Now you're recommending, you're not selling anymore. And these are what leads to you getting more business. So it's just, this is just pure value add. Even when they go to the website and start doing that work, that's all free of charge. That's all supported by our B2B solutions that we sell to our partners and teach them how to and advisors, things like what you're doing here. Your $39 a month goes to support that platform. That's what it does. And we have, much more robust legacy solutions that are deeper and more involved. But, I'm giving you a way to put your toe in the water and to, even while you're going through your other training, to be able to accumulate this knowledge and have this content is going to immediately have an impact on your business. So, and you can try it. If the reason why I put 15 days is these are bi-monthly. So you'll end up getting the first one and you'll actually get the second one just a day before you're going to decide if you want to continue. And when you look at the ROI on this, I can't even measure it. So what I did is I created a special web page that's just for CSI members. And if you go to legacystories.com, write that down, make sure you don't forget that, /CSI. If you go there, you'll see pretty much all the information I just showed you now, just, on a web page, and you'll be able to go down and subscribe right there. So, the idea is you want to do that. You want to do that sooner than later, especially when you find out what kind of advantages this can give you during the holiday season. A lot of people just figure the holidays, you get, wait till you see what you can do for business in the holidays. So it's a great time to get educated right now.
Yeah. Tom, let me go ahead and just jump in just real fast because we're exactly at an hour, and I didn't want to go any longer than that. This is perfect. Here's the point. And I say this to everybody with regards to estate planning and all that education. Tom is going to be one of our team members now. You'll be able to have access to him. There's a lot here. I promise you there's a lot here. But just know, just like we do everything, you'll have a supportive network to help you all along the way. And this website that you go to, legacystories.com/CSI, we have a special discounted price for everybody. Talk to me about how we are actually going to subsidize that for some of our advisor partners. Some people that are listening to this may be prospective, but for those who are already bought into everything we're doing, this is going to be something that we're going to actually help subsidize in the first place. But we just touched on just the scratching of the surface on what is all here for $39 a month in the first place. Is that fair, Tom?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And so we're providing that to you. But I think you're talking about potentially a reimbursement so that if they do this, is that what I understand?
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. So the point being is that you just said it, ROI. We all look for the return on investment. You know, it's tough to have ROI when it's priceless. And that's really what this is. You can't gauge that ROI. But I can tell you that this is such a huge enhancement for what it is that we are already doing on the front end that will differentiate and separate you and eliminate the competition that you're competing against out there in your communities that you're trying to serve. So, with that, Tom, let's go ahead and wind it down. I know also Stacy wants to interject something here with regards to training. Whenever she's going through our training, we're going to create this as an additional module, I believe. Is that right, Stacy?
I believe I'm going to tack it on to the fourth class so we don't add an extra day into training. And so I'm also going to be showing advisors what the environment looks like, how to access the environment, and in client training, I'll be referencing the legacy story environment as well and how it kind of ties into the postscript page.
Perfect. That's perfect. So Tom, he's got all of his information here. The handout that I had in here originally was our old team roster. We're going to be updating that. Tom's going to become part of our team. He'll be accessible, through email for sure is probably easier. But he and I have had these conversations, as he mentioned. I started looking at this about 3 years ago originally, and then we got re-engaged in this once we created our estate planning platform. And then now with this enhancement, it just made sense to be able to bring him on to be an additional team member for access for everybody that's going to be needing, our lead acquisition. Melanie Johnson's on there for marketing. Stacy is an integral part. Scott Garcia, everybody that's on there. This is an added enhancement and team member that I'm excited to be able to be part of our transformational delivery for advisors out there from CSI's perspective. So with that, Tom, thank you very much for your time today. I want to thank everybody that's on here listening right now, maybe listening to this recording. Make sure that you reach out to us here at CSI. The phone number here is 888-316-6040. We can get into more details. Also, make sure that you go to subscribe to legacystories.com/CSI for more information. With that, Tom, do you have any last words?
Yeah, the only thing I want to leave you with is that think about what this is going to not just do for your clients and prospecting and client retention and all of that, but what this is going to do for your own family. You're going to learn something that is going to be more valuable to you, your own legacy, your own family. You'll see as you begin to use and build your own portfolio as you go, and the benefits of this. You'll be shouting to the world, everybody you know, you need to do this, you need to do that. That just puts you in a buzz to go out it. But it's going to be very, very important to you, and you'll see it. It'll touch the heart of your family. So you're going to be learning. You will be a legacy expert, and there will be nobody that will touch you. So it's not just again, a gimmick. So I look forward to meeting you. I've got my information there. If you want to ever call me, go ahead. And I'd like to say thank you for your support of the Living Legacy Project, and appreciate being on the webinar here, Carter.
Absolutely, Tom. Thank you very much. Stacy, do you have any last words at all?
No, I'm good. I look forward to working with everybody on this. I want to just remind everyone that the percentages of you getting to be the advisor of the heirs of your clients right now are the stats are against you. Isn't it like 66% of the time the kids are firing their parents' advisors?
66 to 98% of the time. 66
Yep.
is the low end, 98% of the time is the high end. So
we see this as a way to bridge into that next generation, because this allows you to invite the family members and the heirs to come around the table for a legacy talk. It may seem silly today, but in a few years when mom and dad are gone, those kids know you, they trust you, they know that you know their family and their stories, and they're likely to turn to you when mom and dad are gone. So that's really why we're doing this.
Yeah, that's perfect, Stacy. That's excellent. So everybody, thank you all very much. We stayed on here with a little bit over an hour. Just a lot of really, really good stuff. But in any event, everybody have a fantastic day. I look forward to having a conversation with you about Legacy Talks and moving forward for this additional enhancement to our practice. I want to thank Tom again for being on here today to present. And everybody have a fantastic afternoon and rest of your week. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.